proceed with our business today. I'm grateful for all of your presences here today. And you received the congregational reports by email, and those who don't have email will receive copies by mail. So I hope you'll take the time to read these brief reports. It won't take you too long to read them. Our meeting today is not going to be a repetition of these reports. We're going to do the following things in today's meeting. First, we'll have a time for questions. Then we'll have a brief report from the treasurer. We're going to honor Eunice, who is completing her time on the vestry. And then we will elect our new vestry. Is there anything else we need to do in today's meeting that anybody wants to put on this agenda? So, as we begin, let us pray, using the prayer for a church meeting from the Book of Common Prayer. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with us as we take counsel for the renewal and the mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. So as we enter this new year together, does anyone have any questions about the year at St. Peter's that I've just passed? Andrea?
Not a question, just a comment.
Okay.
After reading the report, I'm looking at our congregation and wondering, I'm like, how did we accomplish all the things we had? It was amazing, and I hope everyone takes it on to this. Yep.
Thank you, Andrea. And I think our prayer that we just prayed got answered this past year. Grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. I think that God's grace helped us to do everything we did last year, which is a remarkable number of things we did. Cookie, did you have to?
I do. I'm sort of following what Andrea was saying. Johnny and I sat down and read that full report this morning, and I was very proud to be a part of this church. You know, I've been here for years and years, but I've never read a final report. So many things, so many people. I just was very impressed, and I thank everybody who was a part of it.
Thank you, Cody, and you make a good point. So many people, every person in this room, without exception, contributed to what we were able to accomplish last year for God's glory. And I'm so very thankful for each one of you. Are there other questions or comments? In today's bulletin, you will find a summary of our financial status. And Jim Kumbach, our treasurer, is here to give us a report, just a brief one, and to take any questions you have concerning St. Peter's finances. So Jim, if you come up and speak with us. And we want to thank Jim for leading in and being our treasurer.
The magic word, like free. Keep it that way.
Oh, Jim Stanford said it's easy to hear you. That they can see it.
I do think it's amazing what the congregation this size was able to achieve this year. It's been a pretty amazing year. I don't think 2021 is ever going to go down in anybody's list of the top 10 years. Through which they have lived, but the church has done amazing things. Part of what has enabled it, in addition to the generosity of all people, is the excellent fiscal system that was originally established by Clarence Huntsman and continued by Eunice Key. So I stepped into some pretty big shoes here to to cover things. I believe that the one piece of paper you have in front of you is this fiscal comparison. Now, there's other things in the report that I hope you'll take a look at. This year's budget and how we spent the money, and then next year's proposed, well, it's not proposed anymore, the budget for 2022, which calls for us to spend approximately $150,000. So, you can see one thing though, despite all of the giving that this church has done, we're actually in a stronger fiscal position as of now than we were a year ago. The church has done very, very well with its investments. The primary source of additional funds in the fiscal position of the church is the trustees of the funds. I don't know how many people are familiar with that. It's a managed equity program handled by the diocese, and St. Peter's has been participating in it for quite a few years. It's basically a place to handle our money better than the local bank does. In a typical month, we get about 45 cents in interest on the tens of thousands of dollars we have deposited, whereas the trustees funds have brought in overall good return. Now, these are equities. Sometimes they go down. They don't always go up. But if you look at this report, you can see that our equities are up approximately $30,000 over the course of the year. Now, part of that is that in October, the vestry put another $10,000 from our bank into the trustees of the fund's accounts. That's part of why the investment fund left up so much. But the bottom line is, at the end of last year, the church had total assets of about $281,000, and at the end of this last year, those funds were $322,800. So the church is doing very well, is very stable, and hopefully we'll be able to continue the kinds of good works that we saw in 2021. So if anybody has any questions about the fiscal issues, I'd be happy to address them either now or if you take me aside some other time, I'll be happy to talk with you.
Just clarification for my secretaries, what is the stamp program?
STAMP is as opposed to the other funds, the top three funds are all long-term investments. They are managed with the aim of long-term gain. STAMP, they don't even call it that anymore. It's changed its name. I can't remember what the new name is. And the beginning of that at least was short-term. That was the whole point. The STAMP program was to be a ready source of cash that we were expected to be able to withdraw if we ever needed it. We never have, but it's there and it's managed for short-term gain.
Do you have an update on how much is in the new scholarship? It says here it's $500.
That's a good point. When the vestry set up the scholarship fund, they established it with $500 donation. Since then, it has received additional donations. At the current time, it's up to $2,000, plus any more money that may come in today or whenever. Okay.
No, that's amazing.
Anyway, it's doing very, very well. So, again, it shows the kind of thing everybody's talking about, the kind of amazing level of enthusiasm of the church members and readiness to support the community. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that somewhere in Scripture, in fact, I know somewhere in Scripture, that unlike Oliver Fortune, I think tells you exactly where that is. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I believe that the fact that we're well off financially is a signal for us to continue our very generous giving and work in the world, because this is not money to hoard, but to use for God's glory. So through the year, we'll be thinking about how we want to do that on an ongoing basis. We do that anyway, but we'll continue to focus on that. Does anyone have any other questions about this before we move on? Now we come to this part of the meeting that I am sure is going to make me cry. We want to honor Eunice today. Now we all know, we're well aware of the fact that, much to our sorrow, Eunice and Roger, after being here for many years, have moved to South Carolina. And yet, through all of the transitions in her life, Eunice has faithfully carried out her duties as a vestry member. She zooms in from South Carolina. She comes to those meetings on Zoom. And she hasn't just shown up. She continues to provide input and guidance as a vestry member. And Eunice, we are going to miss you so much in vestry. In addition, and this is no small thing, she's trained Jim in the use of Parish Meeting. That's the automated system we use at St. Peter's to manage our finances. And I'm going to sound totally sexist here and just say, any woman who tried to assist a man in figuring out how to do something is up against it. So Eunice, we want to thank you for all of your patience, guidance, and kindness as you passed on the treasurer's stuff to John. Eunice has also continued to provide guidance in other areas of our life together. I know that she and Andrea consult on a regular basis about village dinners. And Eunice actually, you've shown up for one village dinner, which we are hoping might happen again. But although, Eunice, we've missed you in person, we are so grateful for all that you continue to bring to us. Now I want to share this brief scripture because we have something for you. And it was with this scripture in mind that I got this gift. During supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and put on an apron. Then he poured the water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the apron that was patterned on him. I just want to say that scripture is exactly who Eunice is. A person who is always serving. A person who has taught all of us about what it means to love and serve. And Eunice, I don't know what else to say.
It's not just in the church, it's
Everywhere, which is why this gift can be used anywhere. This could be, that reminds me about what else I wanted to say. We know that Eunice, even if you're not serving here, you're serving somewhere because that's just part of who you are. So we would like to present you with this gift. You want me to bring it to you?
Make your bed Caesar.
That's right. I bet you she was sitting on the sofa. I think that's right. Yes, of course. Also, Eunice and Roger too. We won't leave Roger out that. You grandparents. Yeah. Also, Bruce hands up. Clean hands and pure heart. Thank you. Nothing that I did here was ever a chore. It was always a privilege and an honor to do everything that I did.
There you go. Oh, that's good.
That's so cute. It's so meaningful. I hope you'll enjoy it. We didn't put St. Peter's on it, so also completing a 3-year term on vestry. And I have never, ever in my lifetime heard that someone who served 3 years on vestry is willing to keep serving. But Robert's willing to stand for this, to fill the term that's unfilled right now and to continue for 2 more years. Robert, that is remarkable. Are you crazy? So, we want to give thanks today for your dedication to St. Peter's, and this means that in 5 years, we're going to have a huge celebration for you and your service. But since you've got 2 more years, we'll say thank you for the last 3. Now, at the last meeting we had the vestry specifically asked that Ben X be acknowledged in January vestry minutes for all that he does behind the scenes at St. Peter's. He does the Sunday bulletins, he formats all of those, he keeps our website up to date. If you ever want to know anything that happened at St. Peter's, including did we spill something on the floor, you can find it on the website. He keeps the Facebook page updated, and he every month gets me to do the newsletter, format stuff, all the things that many churches pay someone to do. And we found out he can even preach. So we'd like to honor Ben today, and Becky, our senior warden, is going to present a gift to them.
And he plays the saxophone.
But he plays a mean saxophone.